Kate Garraway heartbreakingly admitted she tortured herself by listening to her husband Derek Draper's voicemail to hear his old voice. The Good Morning Britain host announced the death of her husband of 18 years at the age of 56 on Instagram on Friday morning, almost 4 years after he first fell seriously ill with COVID. Derek had been plagued with health woes after contracting COVID in 2020 and suffered a cardiac arrest in early December. MailOnline understands he passed away last Wednesday night. Kate revealed she would call the political lobbyist phone just to hear his voice when he was in an induced coma. Writing in her 2023 memoir, The Strength of Love, she explained, "I knew that what I was about to do would be like torturing myself, but I sensed this was the moment that I needed to push myself to the limit." She continued, "I called Derek's old mobile number and heard his old voice on the answer phone. So powerful, so in control, the soft Lancashire accent so familiar and now so distant from the whispered words we heard from Derek every day. I was floored, but knew I had to go deeper, so I searched his last text to me and his emails going further back than the final heartbreaking ones he'd sent me from the hospital before he was put into the coma. 3 years on, reading these day-to-day conversations brought me to tears. I felt full of regret that I hadn't treasured this connection more." Kate spent Christmas Day in hospital with her husband Derek Draper as he was too unwell to go home after suffering a cardiac arrest last year. The Mirror reported Kate, Derek, and their 2 children, Darcy, 17, and Billy, 14, spent their final Christmas as a family together beside his hospital bed. A source said, "Unfortunately, Derek was too unwell for doctors to allow him home for Christmas. But the last thing Kate wanted was for him to be alone during the holidays. So they brought Christmas to him, food, presents, and all. The whole family was there with him and they had the best day they could." Kate made a desperate 12-hour flight home from Mexico with husband Derek Draper, where he had been undergoing specialist treatment after he suffered a cardiac arrest last month. The Sun reports Kate and Derek ventured to Mexico without fanfare in November for treatment, which went incredibly well, only for him to suffer a cardiac arrest ahead of their return home in time for Christmas. Ex-lobbyist Derek was stabilized and put in an air ambulance for the 12-hour flight, with his beloved wife by his side. With a source telling the publication the treatment went incredibly well, and his doctor and all the consultants were hugely optimistic about his long-term progress and future. Unfortunately, as Kate excitedly returned to bring Derek home, he suffered a cardiac arrest. The broadcaster was by Derek's side in intensive care in Mexico and worked with UK doctors who oversaw his return via a specialist plane. Adding, "Unfortunately, despite the doctors in Mexico getting his heart beating stably again, COVID damage meant further complications ultimately affected his chance of recovery."